In this video, we're going to be talking about how to multiply a fraction by a whole number. So when we think about it, it might seem a little confusing at first, but I'll go through it. And so hopefully it will be a little bit easier, okay? So let's think first. Let me see if I can draw a picture here for us. And let's think about a shape. Okay, so I'm going to take this pie and I'm going to cut it into eighths. So now if I color in a few of these pieces, we know that each one of these pieces right here, that's called a unit fraction, right? That's what we've learned the past few times. So each one of those is a unit fraction. So if I take this, I actually have, this is cut into 8 pieces. So I have 1/8 plus 1/8 plus 1/8. Right? I'm trying to figure out what my total is. So this is the same as 1/8 plus 1/8 plus 1/8, which is the same as we've learned that everything on top is just being added together, 1 plus 1 plus 1 over 8, which gives us 3/8 altogether. Okay. Now, if we think about it, this could actually be the same, though, as multiplication. So if I were to write this as a multiplication problem, I would say that it is 3 groups of 1/8, or 3 times 1/8. And the reason why we can do this is because multiplication is just repeated addition. So I'm going to write that down because that is important. Multiplication, let's see how quickly I can write without it looking scribbly, is repeated addition. Okay, and I'll go through an example to show you what I mean. So let's take, if I was adding 4 plus 4 plus 4. I'm not even going to talk about fractions right now. We know 4 plus 4 plus 4 equals 12, right? But if I want to turn this into a multiplication problem, I can say, well, here I have 3 groups of, we can think of this x as meaning groups of 4. Okay, 3 groups of 4. 1 4, 2 4s, 3 4s, and 3 times 4 is 12. So this is 3 groups of 1/8, 3 groups of 4. So let's look at some examples. Okay, when we are multiplying a whole number times a fraction, we can kind of think of how this pattern is looking, right? 3 times 1/8 is 3/8. Okay, so if I'm just looking at the pattern that's here, I can see that nothing has changed from this fraction to my final answer. Okay, it's still going to be fourths. And now the number up top has been multiplied with the whole number. So 3 times 1 gave me 3 here. So I'm going to be multiplying this whole number times the number up top times my numerator. And so 6 times 1 is 6, which is 6/4. One way that we can think of 6 as if we wanted to think of it like a fraction is remember that 6 over 1, any number over 1 is the whole number itself. So 2 over 1 is 2 wholes. 3 over 1 is 3 wholes. Okay, so we could think of it like little fractions. And if we were to multiply both of these across, 4 times, it's always going to be 1. This is going to be 4. Okay, let's look at another example. If I was going to do 2 times 1/3, again, I know that the bottom number isn't going to change. I'm just going to carry that over. And then these 2 top numbers are going to be multiplied together. 2 times 1 is 2. So 2 groups of 1/3. So if we thought of these as thirds, 1/3, 2/3, that's going to be my answer. Now we can also think of this backwards of thinking of the fraction and how do we make that into this multiplication problem. So let's look at some other examples. Let's say I have 3/5, and I want to know that equals some whole number times some fraction. Okay, so 3/5, remember what we did here, is the number that's on top. That's how many groups we have. So this is 3 groups. The 5 is relating to our unit fraction. So all of these are in fifths. So it's going to be 3 groups of 1/5. 3 groups of 1/5 is the same as 3/5. I could do the same thing with a fraction greater than 1 too. The numerator is going to be my whole number, 8 times, and now I need to figure out my fraction, and that's going to be a unit fraction. I'm going to use that bottom number. I know that's going to stay the same, and it's a unit fraction, which means it's always going to be 1 over something. So this is the basis for how you multiply a fraction by a whole number and how you go back and forth. So pay really close attention when you see examples, and remember that when we are going from a fraction and splitting it up into the multiplication, that this numerator is the whole number, right? That's how many groups out of a total of how many fifths we have.